With over 25 years in high-level sales, Karen Taylor has been an award-winning salesperson and director who has the unique ability to forge strong relationships that consist of loyalty and respect. Having worked in many different markets in Melbourne, from inner city to the outer eastern corridor, and most recently the Mornington Peninsula, Karen has consistently gained market share in new areas she has entered into. Karen is an absolute first-class professional. Well, good afternoon or good morning, ladies and gents. Really lucky today to be joined by Karen. I know Karen, it's an interesting one. So, we'll get a bit of background in regards to Karen in just a moment. But I've known Karen for many years because I tried to headhunt her years and years ago, and reason being, I had an office in the city of Knox, and when Karen entered that marketplace, she was very diverse in regards to, she was listing properties in Dandenong, in Knox, anywhere and everywhere, and she got a lot of traction in a short period of time, and was just slaying them out there, it's true. Out there in the marketplace, and I tried to get her on board, and her direction changed, and she's gone from done everything in real estate pretty much, sales, been a director, now is in the Hastings sort of marketplace as a leading salesperson down there. So Karen, thank you so much for your time today. That's all true.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction.
It's all true. So I'll give it a bit of a background, but if you can give the viewers a bit of an idea as to your journey in real estate. When did it start? What the roles that you've had, etc.
Okay. Well, I've been in sales for my entire career, so that's 28 years in sales. In fact, I left a uni degree actually because I love sales so much.
What were you studying?
I was doing a Bachelor of Legal Studies.
Yeah, right.
A bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, just got into sales just to have a job, and was really good at it, and have been, number one salesperson across various industries, and quite well awarded, and really wanted to be somewhere where I could probably be remunerated for the work that I put in. And once I established a family, that seemed a sensible time, because I knew my social life was over, and then I could invest it more fully into the hours that I knew would be required in real estate.
Yep.
So that was actually 16 years ago.
Yeah, gotcha.
So 16 years ago, had my first child. So I started in construction first.
Yep.
I didn't realise at the time that it wasn't real estate, it was building, and I was sales manager for a building company selling off the plan.
Yep.
I worked all across Melbourne, from Williamstown, Craigieburn, all the way down to Pakenham.
So big developments and...
No, residential.
Yeah, residential.
So people would come with their blocks of land, and we'd put houses on them, or site
gotcha.
houses, help them pick plans, inclusions and stuff. It actually gave me a really good background, and from there I did some training to explore that further. So I did training in costing and estimating, which has probably really helped me now when I help builder developers now. Yep. And then when I had my second son, I knew I wanted to just focus and be closer to home, and I'd already made contact with the local office there. That was First National, and I started as an agent's representative. Yep. I was a sole agent, but I worked I went straight into being a full agent.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't work with anyone.
Yeah.
I started during the recession.
Yep.
And that was, so with that agency in the recession, that was crazy. Funnily enough, I think everything that could go wrong to an agent's career and their sales went wrong during that time. Every building inspection failed. I remember once I was taking it's a funny story. I had someone follow me in my car, this is back in the days when you're going to properties, and maybe they're even sitting in the car with you, and family following. And I had them follow me in the car back to the office, taking off on a property, turning right to the office, and they turned left. And I never heard from them again.
Oh, right.
I just saw the property, what's going on? Chattering, nothing. I had someone die.
Yeah.
Put an offer on a property, paid deposit, and pass away. Everything.
Yeah, right.
Lots of things. It was just crazy. In fact, I don't know how I stuck it out. It was a really tough beginning.
How long were you, so First National sales, how long were you there for a lead salesperson for?
It was 4 or 5 years that I was
so
there.
Fair
it was actually real. Yeah, I did and my last year I was the number one actually salesperson for their group.
Yeah, okay.
And then I was approached by the market leader in that area, and I think First National at the time, the people I worked with were really lovely and a great brand, and you know, where I was very ambitious,
Yeah.
and it was Ray White with the market leaders there,
Yeah.
and they approached
Can
me.
I ask which areas you're talking about?
So I worked Dandenong, Mulgrave,
Yeah, okay,
Dandenong North
gotcha.
actually predominantly, and
Yep.
the more I got traction there, I was called in more to the higher end homes. There was an
Yeah.
estate called the Rosewood Downs Estate.
Yeah.
So I worked in Mulgrave and serviced that surrounding area.
Yep.
Then I was approached by so the Ray White brand, and decided to make the move to that agency.
Yeah, got you. And then how long were you there for?
I think about 18 months, 2 years, that I
Yep.
moved across because I was still kind of working. That was a Glen Waverley office, and I learnt a lot. They have a very focus on training, and they're very
Yep.
much invested, I think, in the success of their staff.
Yep.
But it just felt a bit of a disconnect from where the office location was to where I was actually, you know, building a profile.
Yeah.
And Roeville had opened, so I moved across to Roeville,
Yeah,
and then
got
that's
you.
how we
That
met.
was City of Knox. Yeah.
And it was a good move because it made sense. The area I was looking after, I fit in well with the customers there,
Yeah.
and it was very community based, and I'm very community orientated.
Yeah.
And so I got some really good traction in there.
Yeah.
But from there, I moved a couple of changes after that, basically just chasing my ambition. I really wanted to have my own office.
Yeah.
I made a couple of changes that weren't ideal, but it was all a learning experience. Ended up as a shareholder director in a different area.
Yep.
And that was a whole different ball game.
Yep.
But I learned a lot through there. Also became an auctioneer at that stage as well.
Yep. So with your market, where are you? And obviously I know, but the viewers don't.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? Give a bit of a rundown in regard, if you could, the average selling price,
Yep.
the sorts of properties that are available to that market, etc.
Yeah, well, I moved down to, just because of a separation, I stumbled down into the peninsula. Wasn't planned, but fell in love with the area. And quite quickly, firstly, I worked towards making as many local contacts as I can, and being very active across the social media pages for the community before I even started. I had some things
So when
going.
you say, just sorry to interrupt, but when you say active in it, so you're talking about groups in that?
Yeah, groups in the local community groups. It's a very active Facebook community there.
Yep.
And different areas have different trends, I suppose. In my old area, I thought it was very Instagram, and down here they're very
It's
active
very
on
smart.
Facebook.
I'll be taking a note of that one, yeah?
Yeah, so I mean, I use quite a number of social media platforms, but Facebook, it wasn't about talking about me, it was just being active, just my name appearing, offering, and because I moved, I met a lot of tradespeople and made a lot of community contacts because of what I was going through at the time. So any time people were asking for help on the local community pages, I'd be the first in there, tagging people, tagging other businesses, and basically referring. That was even before I started. So I built a bit of was very active in the community, active online. Wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I had I'm a single mum for the first time, and not sure how I was going to navigate all that. Started part-time actually only with Century 21 down there and I'm grateful to them. They were very flexible with, my hours. But I slipped into the role really easily and quickly, and was listing fairly quickly.
How were you, just on two things. So firstly, I think that the COVID situation has just, workplaces have to be flexible now, because people have learned, or most have, that it's really important for business and life to coexist in a really healthy fashion. How did you get business straight away? Like, was it from that referral social media network that you had built up? I mean, to go into a marketplace that you haven't been before.
No, it's completely different.
And to be getting traction and listing, that many properties per month pretty quickly. Like, how did you do it? Was it a combination of different things?
Definitely there was a bit of dependency on the office initially. It's a small office, and the owner of the business would just put me onto campaigns, and I made sure I'd work those campaigns and build a database. So I haven't taken on anyone's database in that office. I've built that. Just working the campaigns properly. At the same time, the social media stuff's going on, and then I also built having some skill at a listing presentation, which is not, it's helpful, but it's not ideal because then you're working quite reactively, and I'm a bit of a planner. So I like to, I go into listing presentations, probably half of the listing presentations now, there's already a relationship and I know I've got the business. And that's how I like to work, not just going into someone I know.
Not catch and kill.
No, and I've had to learn to catch and kill a bit better because I've come out of had a very beautiful gold nugget database and
Yeah.
list of customers that knew me and have had to go and start from scratch. That was
Yeah.
really challenging.
Yeah.
It was actually, I think COVID was probably the turning point for me because I'm very service orientated and I can't afford to lose. I can't afford to not be successful here.
Yeah.
And I am very driven when it comes to putting a deal together. Like
Yeah.
I might not look like it, but there's
Yeah.
not many that don't, it's, yeah.
Yeah. Do you find it a couple of things? So with COVID, I know you were active, but if you can just give the viewers a bit of an idea, were you active during Melbourne lockdowns?
Absolutely. First thing is I had to learn how to work really quickly. So with each announcement that was made, I remember the first announcement where we actually went into, when they locked us down actually as agents, because we were still able to continue working for a little bit. It wasn't until I think October or something that we had a fight. I think it was at 6 o'clock, and I ran around to every listing I had and every listing I thought I might have and took a bunch of my own photos and video. And I just kept them all on my phone. And as the listings, when they came through, I was ready to go with my own marketing.
That's smart.
And in addition to that, it was one house. The owner was very nervous about COVID, and I actually couldn't even step into the house. I was taking photos through windows, through her windows. And then what I would do is I found some old marketing. You just have to hustle, like you just have to put it together and make it work. And I didn't have anything not sell. I sold 100% through the lockdowns. Just had to be a little bit more innovative, but rely a little less on the professional marketing. As we went through, I think you found some of the photographers were then offering editing services, but I did everything myself at that point because we were all just adapting.
Yep.
So I used, and I would take photos. I did videos of my phone, all my own photos, and edited them so they were pretty. Then went online. Sometimes I could find an old floor plan or an old professional shot that I could incorporate. And then I was also doing videos of everything that a buyer would look through. So I'd walk through, I'd open the cupboard doors, open the pantry, under the sink, and all my videos were like that.
So are you doing any of those initiatives now, post COVID,
Yes,
or post everything changing back to sort of some level of normality?
Yeah, the difference is I will have a professional photographer.
Yep.
I now incorporate a virtual tour with every campaign. I think it's a non-negotiable because we can't rely on our government giving any significant notice on future lockdowns. So it's just good risk management.
Yep.
And I do take videos, my own videos and additional photos at every single listing that I have now. And it's back up on my phone. So now I won't put my stuff online, but I'll have it as a backup. So we went into another lockdown late last year, had all the marketing done, and then bang, we're in lockdown the day the ad went live. So luckily, I had all that on my phone. So when the inquiry came through, because people aren't going to necessarily trust in the professional marketing because they know it's been edited.
Yeah.
And as much as I had some great feedback on my photographer that people come through and say, oh, it looks how it does online.
Yeah.
But I think it provides a really and that's about building trust. If my unedited, non-edited photos and video look the same, just a slightly less professional version of what's online, they're more likely to trust in the process. The more information we provide, the more likely the buyers to become engaged in the process and more likely to participate in the buying process, and that's how you sell them.
Are you running with an assistant?
No.
No. Have you got ambitions or plans to potentially take on an assistant, or are you happy just being running your own show at the moment?
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I think everything's happened fairly quickly, and I'm right now. My aim is just to build consistency, which is what I've had. I've managed to have a very consistent last 12 to 18 months. I've done the same consistently selling 4 properties every month. To me, that's capacity. And given my circumstances as a single parent and the boundaries I put in place, that to me is achievable. For me to exceed that, I know that I'm going to have to put somebody on. But I'm mindful of that the person that works with me, and I've had this happen before, is you have to be in sync with one another. So the experience the customer has with me, there has to be consistent with the experience I have with assistant, if that's the road I go.
As far as somebody coming, whether they're experienced or new to the industry, obviously you've been doing this for a very long time. What have you identified as some of the key character traits that you feel an agent needs to possess to be successful in real estate?
They're people focused, not numbers focused.
Yep.
They're humble and kind. You have to have, I feel, an abundance mentality. A lot of workplace disputes happen because people are scrambling over, crap.
Yep.
So having a mentality of abundance, that there's more than enough to go around, and not
Yep.
to sweat the small stuff, and to definitely be invested in your own personal growth and development.
Yeah.
I think they're really key factors.
Yeah. And do you have, what are your, I guess, as far as 2022 goes, obviously you've during challenging times, you've been, doing business where some agents just came to a complete standstill. So you've been active, still been doing business and so forth, and doing business in an efficient way. Going into 2022, is there, with technology and digital authorities and things like that, are there some things, I think there's although COVID wasn't ideal, there has been some things from a business perspective that have made people aware of a better way of doing things. Are you going to continue, the marketing side, that aside, but are you going to continue some of those initiatives that you were able to do to streamline your business post-COVID time?
Yeah, certainly the doing documents online.
Yep.
That might sound like some people have been doing it for longer, but it definitely meant that I could work from home. And I was putting deals together at 10, 11 o'clock at night because my kids are in the next room.
Yeah.
And I can be there, but I can still put deals together. So definitely continuing that.
Just on the, sorry to interrupt, but are you, with being a single mother, children at home, are you working a lot more from home now? Is it sort of at the office? Is it a hybrid scenario where at the office, at home? Are you more at home?
So we've returned to the office,
Yep.
but I'm 5 minutes from any property I sell. I'm 5 minutes from my office. I'm 5
Yep.
minutes from anywhere that I really need to be.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon for me to go into the office, to be doing a lot of washing at 7 o'clock in the morning, get to the office, make the first lot of calls, go home, hang it out, go back to the office,
Yeah.
and then I'm set for the day.
Yeah.
And if I needed, I had to have a tradesman come to the house last week. I was in the middle of negotiations. I created the contract at the office,
Yeah.
went home, waiting for the tradie, and I've logged back in and I'm continuing that contract. So the digital aspect of it means we can log in from anywhere. Sometimes I can be a bit of a pretty quiet person, and sometimes the office space can be a bit consuming, and I might need to go home and just, do some work from there. But it's important to have the connection with the office. I don't feel it's. I like working from both. I think it's necessary for my circumstances to have the option of being able to. I don't have to stop working. Like, we were isolating, my kids and I, in January, and I was still preparing campaigns, doing marketing. I had my vendor at a property with the photographer, and we've got on FaceTime, working out. Can you get him to stand there and going to do this, and that's how we coordinated the marketing. And it was all from home.
Yeah. So some key takeaways that for me personally, and each person will take some different takeaways based on what's important to them, but I guess the realization that there is, with digital aspects, there is sometimes smarter way to do things, and maybe the pandemic has made people realize that. For people to be to have a longevity as an agent, is that, and this has been consistent, humble, being a good, genuine person, because the reality is, if you're not those things, you won't last long term. From what I've seen, you have these people who come and go, but you don't have people who last, well, certainly not as long as what you have, but don't last long term. With regards to 2022, I know you're big on figures, you're just big on focusing on doing the right thing, looking after your clients, and so forth. But is there any sort of key things that you're targeting towards, or goals that you're targeting towards for 2022, or just primarily just doing a really good job and taking care of people and doing good real estate?
Yeah, I mean, to continue the consistency, because that's something that can be a challenge when you've got some momentum. So to continue that consistency, I consistently, it will be 4 sales. I've already done the 4 for this month. But I've missed out in January because I was isolating and had a late start to the year. So just want to continue doing that. And when I know I've got consistency and I'm self-reliant in that business, then we're looking at potentially adding a person to the team.
One really intelligent, smart strategy was when Karen was, that I found as well, once again we talk about takeaways, was when Karen was looking to enter that market. Even before commencing her employment, she was joining Facebook pages, building contacts with tradespeople and so forth. So building a contact base on the Facebook community pages prior to commencing. I think that's really good because essentially you're building a database.
And a creative one.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Another group.
A page.
A creative one, yeah.
Called what?
It's actually for one of the local...
What's it based on?
It's an estate. It's one of the estates. It's an estate that I live there.
Awesome.
And there wasn't... sometimes the bigger community pages can be a bit overwhelming.
Yep.
And I wanted to create a space. Look, I've moved in there on my own, and I wanted to, get to know my community and feel a sense of security, which I think comes from being neighbourly and getting to know your community.
Yep.
And that was my motivation. But I've actually got more members on that page, and there are households in that community, and I've already had listed and sold 2 properties as a result of that group.
What a great takeaway.
And
Building a community of, inside that market that's area specific. Those are great takeaways.
And they're meaningful. They're real meaningful relationships.
Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. There's been some great, once again, with each of these videos, there's just gold nuggets throughout them. So really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are. So really appreciate your time. And thank you all for watching. Cheers, guys.